Southern Colorado's high-definition news leader. This is News Channel 13, where the news comes first.
Tonight on the weather scene, we're tracking a cold front that's moving through the region. As you check out that temperature tracker now, it's settled well into the state. We'll tell you what you can expect for your morning commute coming up.
Plus, a suspected burglar is shot dead. A criminal defense attorney weighs in on how far you can go to protect your home.
And they're getting out the vote in Pueblo tonight. Both parties making last-minute phone calls to those who have not turned in their ballot yet. Good evening, and thanks for joining us. I'm Greg Miller. Jonathan Petramala is on assignment.
And I'm Rana Novini. And first up tonight, changes on the way. Big changes. We've enjoyed a few gorgeous dry days in southern Colorado, but winter, of course, slowly approaching, and so is the cold.
Yeah, whether we like it or not, it's on the way. Tracking it all, Storm Tracker 13's Jason Laird. He's in the Weather Center tonight. Jason, looks like some areas may even see some snow by tomorrow.
Yeah, that is right. We're looking at about 10,000 feet. That seems to be the cutoff right now for snowfall. Now, we're not looking at anything crazy, but above 10,000 feet, right around 1 to 3 inches is pretty standard for western Colorado. Notice we are looking at a winter storm warning for portions of western Colorado right now, up through Monday at about 5 p.m. Again, that's roughly about 1 to 3 inches of snowfall. Now, the areas we're definitely going to want to keep our eye tomorrow is going to be into the Palmer Divide region. Likely a rain-snow mix into that region and more or less just slushy conditions. Wouldn't hurt to plan a little extra time for your morning commute tomorrow, especially if you are traveling through the Palmer Divide or coming down Highway 24 from Woodland Park region. As you notice, those temperatures aren't bad right now. Here's kind of what we're expecting when we turn on that travel tracker. So, little hazardous conditions when we're talking about I-25 and Highway 24. Canyon City to Kansas, fairly clear into that region. Reason for that, the winds, yeah. Even though they're annoying, they do help us out a little bit. That's going to keep a lot of eastern Colorado rather dry over the next day or so. However, the foothills and the mountains seeing that rain-snow mix as the day progresses. So let's break down the month of November. Here's how things play out normally. So we're not that crazy for temperatures or anything like that. Doesn't seem like it, at least. So the average high is right around 51 for the month of November. Lows right around 25.2. And then your average precipitation when for snowfall right about 4, just over 4.5 inches for the most part. So we're not completely out of track for this November, but that could change us. We'll have more on your forecast and what you can expect just around the corner. We'll send it back to you guys.
All right, Jason, thanks a lot. Well, a Colorado Springs homeowner says her tenant killed a burglar, and she did it to save her life. She says the man forced his way inside, and that's when the gun went off.
This happened in the 2900 block of West Colorado Avenue early this morning on the city's west side. KRDO News Channel 13's Emily Allen talked to a lawyer about how far you can go to protect your home. Emily?
Greg and Rana, there used to be police tape in this area, but that has been taken down. At this point, there is a window that has still been blocked off that was broken early this morning. The woman who owns this home, I spoke to her earlier today, and she is shocked by what happened here.
Colorado has attempted for a male to try to get into the house. RP did fire shots at the male. Not sure if he was hit.
This broken window serves as evidence.
He broke a window with a rock and tried to climb in.
Linda Orest says her tenant had no choice.
She was upset that she had to kill someone to protect herself.
The woman who lives in this house doesn't want to comment, but the home's owner is glad her tenant is okay.
And she warned him that she had a gun. For whatever reason, he kept coming, and she shot a warning shot into the wall. And then he kept coming, and so she had to shoot him twice.
Police initially got a call that there was a burglary in progress at this home and that shots had been fired. Now, when they showed up, they did find a man who had been shot, and when he was taken to the hospital, he was pronounced dead. Criminal defense lawyer Jeremy Lowe studied Colorado's Make My Day law.
Somebody has to be breaking into your house, that they have to be committing a crime once they're in their house, and that you have to be in fear that they are going to be using force against you.
Lowe says based on the evidence he knows about this case,
she absolutely will be able to use the Make My Day defense.
Colorado legislature adopted this law almost 3 decades ago, but it isn't used much.
It's a pretty unusual circumstance that people argue Make My Day. It happens a couple times a year.
Back at the home, Oris says this window will be replaced and covered with metal bars. She says her tenant is shaken up, but grateful to be okay. Greg and Rana, police have released very little information about this case at this time. However, we do know that at this point, they are not looking for anyone else. In Colorado Springs, Emily Allen, KRDO, News Channel 13.
All right, Emily, thank you. More to come on that one. One person is dead after a motorcycle crash in Colorado Springs. This happened at the intersection of East Pikes Peak Avenue and South Union Boulevard around 11 o'clock last night. Police say the motorcycle driver died after crashing with another vehicle. The other driver was taken to the hospital, but his injuries are unknown. Neither victim has been identified. In 2 days, we'll find out the results of Decision 2014. About half of the voters in Pueblo County have already turned in their ballots.
KRDO News Channel 13's Michelle San Miguel spoke with the Republican and the Democratic parties in Pueblo County as they encourage the other half to cast their votes. Michelle?
Good evening. Today, volunteers and candidates were out knocking on doors and making phone calls, reminding voters their ballots need to be turned in before 7 o'clock on Tuesday night.
Inside of Democratic headquarters,
I know you voted in the past.
Volunteers are working the phones.
Lots of phone calls. A lot of people getting those phone calls obviously tell us that they're done, but get your ballot in and we'll stop calling.
It's a similar story inside of Republican headquarters.
We'd appreciate it greatly if you get your ballot marked and turned in.
With a mail-in ballot election, Republicans and Democrats get a list of who's already voted and are contacting those who still have not. If you're one of them, you know the conversation goes something like this.
We see you haven't voted yet. Are you planning on voting or do you need help?
So far, half of registered Democrats have returned their ballots compared to nearly 60% of Republicans. Nearly 1/3 of unaffiliated voters have also returned their ballots. But there are more registered Democrats in Pueblo County than Republicans, meaning unaffiliated voters could be the key this election. Republicans hope the momentum built during last year's recall of Democratic State Senator Angela Giron will push more unaffiliated voters their way.
We really feel that our unaffiliated friends will be going with us, and so we're hoping the unaffiliated will also get out and vote.
But this election, Democrats say they are not looking back at last year's loss.
The recall happened and the results happened, and we have moved on just in the interest of getting our candidates elected this year.
At this point, it is too late to mail in your ballot. You can find a complete list of drop-off locations on our website, krdo.com. Reporting live in Pueblo, Michelle San Miguel, KRDO News Channel 13.
Michelle, thank you very much. Voters in El Paso County will have more places to drop off their ballots starting tomorrow. The Clerk and Recorder's Office says it will open another 13 voter service and polling centers. That's on top of the 12 that are already open. Again, you can head over to krdo.com to find out those locations, the new locations, and the hours they will be open.
Nationwide, a lot of eyes are on Colorado's U.S. Senate race. Polls show it will be close on Tuesday, but how accurate are those polls? The latest Quinnipiac poll in the race for Senate in Colorado shows Cory Gardner leading incumbent Mark Udall by a 7-point spread. But the final Denver Post poll before the election shows this election is much closer, with Gardner up just 2. We spoke with a longtime expert of Colorado politics to find out if you can trust any of those polls. You'll hear from him later on in our newscast.
Well, despite the low approval rating, President Obama made appearances to help candidates in Connecticut, and Pennsylvania today. The president rallied a crowd on behalf of incumbent Governor Dannell Malloy, who is in a tight race for re-election. President Obama also helped Democrat Tom Wolf in his race to be Pennsylvania's governor. Meanwhile, 2 possible 2016 presidential candidates were out looking to bolster support. Chris Christie was in Illinois helping a congressional candidate there, and Hillary Clinton stopped in New Hampshire Sunday to help a Democratic Senate candidate. And the networks of KRDO are your home for live coverage on election night on TV, radio, and online. You can find the latest on all of the candidates and the issues at krdo.com under the Decision 2014 section. And we will have all of the results online and on air and on radio coming up Tuesday night right here on KRDO.
A man is in custody tonight on several charges after Colorado Springs police say they found him passed out in a car. That's new tonight at 10 o'clock. Police say they found Andrew Woods in the 500 block of West Garden of the Gods Road. Officers say Woods had a rifle next to him but turned out to be an airsoft gun. They also found several IDs and credit cards that were not his and items from a burglary that happened last month. Police say he was wanted on 4 other warrants. A man on the run in Colorado Springs is now in custody. Officers pulled over 19-year-old Alexander Brown last night around 11 o'clock on Austin Bluffs Parkway. And during the stop, they found a sawed-off rifle that belonged to his passenger. Brown was arrested on the outstanding warrant, plus firearms charges. His vehicle was also impounded.
A Las Vegas woman is searching a copper urn that contains the ashes of her parents who are from Pueblo. New tonight at 10. Terry Browdy says her parents died within 11 months of each other. She was in Pueblo taking care of the matter and wrapped the urn in a box with other items. It was brought by a friend to a UPS in Pueblo, but when Browdy got to her home in Las Vegas, she found it at her door with a hole in it.
I told my husband something's wrong, and we just started tearing open the package because instinctively I thought it's the urn. I don't know why I thought that.
Now, the urn was the only thing missing from the box. She says she thinks an x-ray is the only way someone would have known that the urn is copper. UPS is looking into the theft. A burglary suspect chose the wrong home to break into. Denver police say a man faces burglary charges after trying to break into a deputy sheriff's home. Police say the suspect broke a window with a brick. Then the deputy sheriff chased him. The suspect was hurt by broken glass from the window. His name has not been released.
The Oregon woman who became the face of the Death with Dignity movement has died. We have new information tonight on Brittany Maynard. The 29-year-old was diagnosed with terminal brain cancer back in April, and she was told she only had 6 months to live. She chose to end her life under Oregon's Death with Dignity Act. You may remember Kara Tippett of Colorado Springs. She's terminally ill with breast cancer. We talked to her a few weeks ago. She wrote a letter to Maynard after seeing her story, hoping that she could change Maynard's mind.
A test pilot who escaped that Virgin Galactic spaceship crash is recovering tonight. Spaceship Two co-pilot Peter Siebold is alert and he's speaking. That's according to Scaled Composites, the company that partnered with Virgin on the test flight that ended in disaster on Friday. The NTSB says it has not spoken with Siebold yet. He was able to parachute to the ground after the spaceship broke apart. The complete investigation into the crash, though, could take up to a year.
We know of 6 cameras on the vehicle itself, 6 non-volatile sources of information on the vehicle itself.
Now, the co-pilot of the crash, Michael Alsbury, died in Friday's accident.
One of America's most wanted fugitives is finally behind bars, and tonight we're getting a first look at the hideout where they found suspected cop killer Eric Frein. Police in Pennsylvania say they found Frein hiding in an abandoned airport hangar. It's about 35 miles from where he's accused of ambushing and murdering a state trooper. We're also learning more about the takedown. Authorities say they cleared the area building by building when they saw a figure moving towards the hangar.
The guy walking a block, he met the description, physicals, for a split second. I was like, who's this guy walking in the middle of the field of nowhere? And then I realized that it was him.
Police now say that gash on Frein's face happened while officers held him to the ground. Well, it was the Sweet 16 for Brady and Manning this afternoon, and after 15 meetings, Brady got the last laugh today.
Yeah, it was Brady blowing out the candles in the end. Josh Williamson is here with us now with what went wrong for the Broncos. That was just downright painful.
Well, guys, do you want the good news or the bad news?
There's good news?
There's good news. I mean, you got to find the light and everything,
Which
right?
part?
Peyton Manning, 438 yards passing.
Okay.
Bad news?
They're
Well,
going to say your fantasy football team did well.
Well, yeah. No, we did horrible. That's the bad news as well. But
you didn't hear him crying in the newsroom earlier?
No, I didn't hear that.
Anyways, let's talk. Whenever Manning and Brady get together, the other one wants to outplay the other one, but they won't admit to it. Manning and the Broncos, they led early 7-3 on a 1-yard Ronnie Hillman scamper, but interceptions would lead to points for the Patriots, and a bunch of them in this one. You believe the Broncos actually had the lead in this one, but that was the last one they would have. There's Manning's first interception, then Tom Brady, he connected 4 touchdowns on the afternoon, 333 yards. As I mentioned, Peyton Manning 438 yards, but 2 costly interceptions. Not a good day for the Broncos.
We just didn't, on offense, didn't do the things that we talked about doing, and that starts with me. I got to play better. That's pretty plain and simple. Quarterback stinks. Usually, you're not going to win many games.
That's usually how it goes. 43-21 was the final there.
Now, we saw at the beginning all the snow on the field, and people always say that Peyton Manning doesn't play well in the cold. Do you think that had anything to do with it?
I don't know. I mean, he threw for 438 yards. So, I mean, I guess that's playing pretty good in the cold. But you got to look at the fact that he was running for his life a lot, too. There was a 4th and 5 as well, where he got his knees taken out, which probably scared a lot of Bronco fans. But
it didn't look good.
No, 43-21 was not good at all. Next week, though, get this, Bronco fans. You know who we got? The Raiders.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I wouldn't want to be the Raiders. Well, they haven't won a game yet this year anyway, but I wouldn't want to be the Raiders coming off of that one.
You never know.
Let's not. Don't jinx us.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, Josh.
Josh, thanks.
Well, a different crowd gathered outside of today's Washington Redskins game against the Minnesota Vikings. About 3,000 people, you can see here, they marched to the Vikings Stadium to protest the Redskins name. Protesters call the name a racial slur, and the team's owner says he will not change the team name, which he argues honors Native Americans.
Well, the Redskins had a little trouble getting to today's game. 2 of Washington's buses and a squad car got into a crash on the way to the game. The squad car escorting the team hit a guardrail and stopped. The first bus avoided that car, but the second rear-ended the first one. An officer suffered some minor injuries in the crash. The Redskins, again, lost that game to the Vikings 29-26.
And on the weather scene, flurries are expected to fly as we move into this next work week. We'll break down your forecast and let you know when and where just around the corner.
Well, misery loves company. Look at some of these images tonight. Mother Nature slamming several different parts of the country, including the South, with a little bit of everything winter could offer.
Plus, a woman thought she put her wedding ring in a safe place, but now it's a trick inside a treat. We'll explain coming up.
I'm Mark Udall, and I approve this message.
As you're making your decision, remember.
A bill that everybody says is basically a personhood bill at the federal level. You're telling me it's not.
Cory Gardner is still sponsoring the personhood bill in Congress. His name is right there, but Gardner just keeps denying it. Gardner's denials even failed the independent fact check.
And a less charitable interpretation is that you're not telling us the truth.
Whether it's with our rights and freedoms or his own word, Colorado just can't trust the real Cory Gardner.
Hi, I'm Jake Jabs. We have the biggest and best dining room selection in the country. Fall is in the air, and here at American Lifestyle Furniture, that means great fall savings, and we need to make room for new merchandise arriving daily. Like this 5-piece dining set for only $229. Or this winter table and 4 chairs is only $565. Or the traditional dining table and 4 side chairs for only $795. We also carry a huge selection of bar stools and chairs that start as low as $16. This year, live better for less at American Lifestyle Furniture.
KRDO Mobile on the Go, powered by Rocky Mountain Honda Dealers.
Hi, I'm Joe Nagoose, and this is the first campaign ad I've ever made. I'm new at this, but I'm not going to tell you who to vote for or against. I'll let you decide. I believe your Secretary of State should focus on running fair elections, make it easier for eligible citizens to vote, stop those who cheat the system, and disclose corporate money in campaigns. I'm Joe Nagoose, and as Secretary of State, it won't matter to me if you vote Democrat or Republican. Just that your vote counts.
Storm Tracker 13 is sponsored by Southern Colorado Roofing.
Well, it looks like Mother Nature and Old Man Winter might be making friends again here over the next few days. Start things off in Pueblo. Check that out. Pueblo Chieftain camera, about 51 degrees. Not a bad evening out there. It is going to get a bit brisk, and winds expected to kind of kick back up tomorrow again. Powers and Galley camera, brought to you by Overhead Door Company. Of course, about 48 degrees. Fairly calm winds right there. But big change on the horizon. Temperatures right now, not bad. Still into the high 50s out in eastern Colorado, 40s into the foothills, and a few 30s and 40s into the mountain locations. But temperatures are going to continue to fall as we move into this next week. Check out that HD Doppler radar right now. Only place we've really seen any rain is down into the southeastern corner. The storms kind of peaked over the mountains today. Didn't really provide much snowfall this afternoon, but as soon as they made it into eastern Colorado, the rain started falling. We are tracking some clouds trying to kick out some snow into the high country right now. Those are going to continue into eastern Colorado. Now, the big driving force behind this notice we've got a big area of low pressure up into Canada, and that's what's pulled all that Pacific moisture inland and really brought some cold air right along with it. Here's how it's going to play out for us. Again, there's the leading edge of that cold front. That is going to kick off the snow right in front of it. Fairly clear, though, into eastern Colorado. Reason for that is those winds over top the mountains, or wrapped right over top of the mountains, I should say. That's going to, well, keep things relatively dry into eastern Colorado. So snow into the high terrain, not drastic snow, about 1 to 3 inches in most locations, and just again windy conditions out into eastern Colorado. A few rain showers moving through Denver and a little bit to our north, but that cold front's going to continue to track through the region, and right about 3:15 or so by tomorrow afternoon, that's when that cold air is really going to be set on top of us, and those temperatures are going to drop very drastically. So it's going to be a chilly one tomorrow. Temps aren't going to really warm up much, but by Monday evening we're looking relatively dry and a nice warm up after that. So as for the snow accumulation, here's how things are going to play out. Notice computer-generated models putting even less accumulation than what we saw earlier. Into the Palmer Divide region, we're looking at a rain-snow mix, so plan a little extra time, but it's not anything to get too terribly excited about. As we move into the high country, into Woodland Park and Cripple Creek area, right about an inch of accumulation into the higher terrain, but again, not drastic. And this is going to take place all Monday, not necessarily by your morning commute. 2 to 4 inches as we go up into the mountains just west of Buena Vista there, and a little bit further south, 1 to 3 inches as we move into the Walsenburg region and the wet mountains there. So relatively dry. It's not going to be anything crazy, but again, old man winter trying to give us a little dose of snowfall. As you notice, highs tomorrow not bad into the southeastern corner of the state, into the 60s, 40s into the foothills, and 40s and 30s into the mountains, but much cooler than what we've seen over the past few days. The good news is there is hope in sight, though. Check this out. After a start of the week in the 40s and 50s, 60s to follow, plenty of sunshine to go around, but still overnight lows chilly into the 30s pretty much all week long. Pueblo a little bit warmer into the 60s, reaching 72 degrees by next weekend. Again, we're looking at rain snow mix into the foothills for your Monday morning. Those temperatures again warming up rather quickly into Canyon City, back up to 70 degrees by Friday. And then those temperatures kind of fall off for the weekend. But those overnight lows, you got to keep an eye on those, because the ground's going to start freezing up on us here in the near future. With a week of temperatures well below freezing, yeah, it's not going to take much. But the good news is plenty of sunshine to go around once Tuesday winds around. That's the nice thing when you get these wicked cold fronts that sweep through the area like that. Although they're kind of bad while they're passing, believe it or not, it's usually clear skies afterwards. That kind of lets things warm up a little bit for us. So
that's the good news about Colorado.
These guys are like
you like how I put the positive on the end of that?
They are the experts at the silver lining, and we're just like, yeah, cold. Yeah, Broncos.
That's why they're trying to cheer us.
They're trying to help us out tonight, and we kind of need it, Josh.
Yeah, hopefully the Broncos can get over it.
Yeah, there are a lot of silver linings. I mean, this is one game against the Patriots. Yeah. Broncos still lead the division. They play the Raiders next week. They still have a great chance of winning the Super Bowl. So don't worry about that. We've got highlights of the Broncos-Patriots Part 16 next in sports.
2.5 million women live in Colorado. One man wants the power to make decisions for us. Bob Beaupre said as governor he'd oppose funding for Planned Parenthood, denying women access to birth control and cancer screenings. He'd eliminate funding for a program that's helped reduce teen pregnancy by 40%. And Beaupre said he'd sign a law to outlaw abortion, even in cases of rape and incest. Bob Beaupre, not a governor for us.
Ultimate chicken sandwich is so great. I mean, this is the chicken sandwich that all other chicken sandwiches are going to be judged against.
Well, I'll actually be the judge of that, Peter.
Okay, so what are you, some sort of chicken judge?
I find this ultimate chicken sandwich on brioche bun to be guilty of being delicious.
Great. TJ, this is ridiculous.
You're out of order. I'm out of tots. Order me a drink. Case dismissed.
All rise for the honorable new ultimate chicken sandwich and treat yourself to a new waffle cone sundae. This is how you Sonic.
I'm Mark Udall, and I approve this message.
As you're making your decision, remember,
a bill that everybody says is basically a personhood bill at the federal level. You're telling me it's not.
Cory Gardner is still sponsoring the personhood bill in Congress. His name is right there, but Gardner just keeps denying it. Gardner's denials even failed the independent fact check.
And a less charitable interpretation is that you're not telling us the truth.
Whether it's with our rights and freedoms or his own word, Colorado just can't trust the real Cory Gardner.
For more than 60 years, Colorado energy companies have relied on fracking. 90% of all oil and natural gas wells have been or will be fracked. It's an intensely regulated process with rules that are strictly enforced. Colorado's nationally recognized stringent laws safeguard air, land, and water quality. Protecting the environment goes hand in hand with the need for reliable and affordable energy. Fracking technology is always improving. We're a model for other states. Just connect the dots.
News Channel 13 closed captioning is sponsored by Phil Long. Now, Josh Williamson with Southern Colorado's award-winning sports.
Good evening. Well, Brady versus Manning turned out to be a horror movie for Bronco fans. It was the 16th meeting between the two future Hall of Famers, and it was the Patriots' day. This is the scene before the game. Wow, look at all that snow. But once the game started, it was all cleared off so that Manning versus Brady, part 16, could go on. Manning has thrown at least one touchdown in 46 consecutive games. We make it 47 today, but that one, Ronnie Hillman, runs in for the touchdown. This one, though, Peyton Manning has trouble as he throws an interception. That would lead to another Patriots touchdown as Tom Brady's going to find Shane Vereen for the score. The Patriots take the lead. Manning, though, would find Julius Thomas in the second half. Nice touchdown catch. And he's saying it's that easy when they're down by 13 points. You can't be doing that. Peyton Manning then had more troubles. This one off of Welker's hands into the hands of Browner for the Patriots. The Patriots stomped the Broncos 43-21. Now Manning threw for 438 yards. That's your silver lining. Brady topped him, though, in the touchdowns with 4 scores.
It was 11 on 11, and their 11 played better than our 11.
I mean, it was definitely embarrassing. You don't ever, the expectation for this team, of course, is, to go all the way and win it all. And tonight we weren't at our best. And if we want to get where we need to get, which is the Super Bowl, we got to get better and we got to bounce back.
All right, and a serious note on the Broncos game, too. They lost Nate Irving to a serious knee injury. No timetable yet expected for his return. Well, the 4A and 3A high school football brackets were released earlier today. In 4A, 7 of the 16 teams, local teams. Pine Creek, they're number 1 seed. They'll face Ponderosa in the first round. Pueblo South, they get the number 5 seed as they'll face number 12 Greeley West. Vista Reg makes it in as a number 9 seed. They'll face Windsor. And number 10 Pueblo Centennial, they'll face number 7 Longmont. Falcon comes in as the number 13 seed. They will face number 4 Denver South. Let's head over to 3A now. Coronado, they're number 14. They'll face number 3 Montrose. And finally, number 15 Rampart gets number 2 Fort Collins. Actually, that was still in 4A. Now we're going to go to 3A. Discovery Canyon, they earned the number 1 seed. Congratulations to them. They'll face Berthoud. The only other 2 local teams, they'll face each other. Number 4 Pueblo East against number 13 Canyon City. Well, the Avs were at home against the Ducks tonight, and Dennis Everberg is going to light the lamp for the Avs and give Colorado the 1-0 lead, something they haven't seen too much this season. Then Nathan McKinnon, the rookie last year, showed flashes of brilliance. This year this game he gets another goal, makes it 2-1 Colorado. But oh no, the Ducks come back. The Avs lose by the final score of 3-2. Colorado now drops to 3-5 on the season to go along with 5 ties. So not a good way to start the Avs season, but hey, there's still a long season left to go.
There's that silver lining.
Gotta have it.
Not a great day for Colorado sports.
No.
We'll rebuild. It'll be all right. Yeah. All right. Well, it was supposed to be a convenient ride home, but wait until you see the bill for an 18-mile trip using Uber last night. One Denver man has a warning after he and his wallet were taken for a ride.
Plus, blindfolded and no harness, a daredevil takes on an incredible feat, but will he complete this mission? That's coming up.
This is a memory foam mattress at a mattress-only store. This is a memory foam mattress at American Lifestyle Furniture. What's the difference? Price. You don't have to pay more to get a great night's sleep. At American Lifestyle Furniture, we have the best selection of pressure-relieving memory foam mattresses without the inflated price. Like this Premier Queen set, only $399, or this 11-inch Discovery for only $498. American Furniture Warehouse is the authority on memory foam mattresses.
It concerns me that Cory Gardner pushed a law so extreme that it would change the legal definition of rape to mean only forcible rape.
In Gardner's bill, victims who were drugged or even minors who were victims of statutory rape would not be considered rape victims at all.
That's just absolutely too extreme. I think it's essential that the government stays out of those decisions. We need to support victims and not make it harder for them.
Senate Majority PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
It's here, Ford's Great American Tailgate Event, featuring America's best-selling brand. Introducing Ford Edge, Explorer, Escape, and the 2015 Ford Expedition. All powered by EcoBoost technology. Hurry in to Ford's Great American Tailgate Event. Now get up to $34.90 total savings or 0% financing for 72 months. Or lease a four-wheel drive Escape for just $209 a month. Only at your local Ford stores.
Our unique best-of-the-above approach to energy is about Colorado leading America and the world.
Mark Udall led Colorado to set cutting-edge standards for renewable energy, growing our clean energy economy nearly 33% and promoting natural gas with respect for Colorado's air and water. The Denver Post praises Udall's bill to increase natural gas exports, a balanced energy strategy pioneered in Colorado.
I'm Mark Udall. Colorado's energy approach is something to be proud of, and that's why I approve this message.
A Denver man says he and his bank account were taken for a ride. Elliot Asbury left a Halloween party in Golden Friday night, but couldn't find a cab. So he called the popular car service Uber to get to his Denver home. It was an 18-mile trip that wound up costing him more than $500. And it's not a mistake. On busy nights like Halloween, Uber uses surge pricing that multiplies your fare. But Asbury and even the Uber driver were shocked at that final bill.
You just wouldn't stand there and be like, is this maybe going to cost me $1,000 to get home? The thought just wouldn't even cross your mind. It was so outrageous. They could just say, you know what, at a certain point, we're not going to charge that much.
Well, part of the problem was Asbury's inexperience with the app. He chose the premium car instead of a cheaper one that's listed, and he didn't get a fare estimate on it. His advice to others, rent a helicopter next time.
Might not be bad advice in his case.
Not at all.
Well, an Arizona woman pulled a trick on herself this Halloween while handing out candy. She accidentally gave one trick-or-treater her wedding ring. Brooklyn Yazzie says she took off her ring and put it in a candy jar while she was carving pumpkins, but she forgot to get the ring before filling that jar with candy. She says the ring doesn't have much monetary value, but to her, it's priceless.
It's my wedding ring, you know? I mean, you could replace it, but it's not the same. I'm just really hoping that somebody has it and just doesn't know what to do with it. They don't know whose it is or how to find out, you know, through the hundreds of houses they went to. They don't know which house it came from.
Well, she says usually she would have been out trick-or-treating with her kids, but she recently broke her foot and is expecting another child. Hopefully someone finds that ring and returns it to her.
Oh, yeah, that's horrible.
That is horrible.
Yeah, good luck to her. Well, some of you may have dressed up as bride and groom this Halloween, but one couple in Minnesota purposely picked Halloween for their wedding.
Yeah, very interesting. Holly Hagan has wanted to have a Halloween wedding since elementary school. So when her fiance Scott Specken found out Halloween fell on a Friday this year, they were stoked. More than 200 guests came to this wedding in Minneapolis, all of them in costume. And for those who didn't dress up, the couple provided them with masks. Very cool, unique wedding.
And a bit of a spooky forecast as we look at our work week here. A little bit of flurry activity. We'll tell you all about it, what we can expect around the corner.
Plus, less than 2 days away from Election Day, the polls are neck and neck, but how often are those polls correct? A lesson in election statistics coming up.
It's always been hard for us to find a contractor that we can trust, and that's why we always choose right. We know that we're going to be treated with respect by a professional who's always looking out for our best interest.
As always, it's either 100% right or 100% free. We guarantee it.
The Honda CR-V is not just the best-selling SUV this year, or last year, or even the year before that. The CR-V is actually the best-selling SUV of the past decade. And right now, it's also the best value ever. At just $199 a month, you'll get more power than RAV4 or Rogue, a higher safety rating, and the highest residual value in its class. All for just $199 a month or limited time 0.9% financing. See your Rocky Mountain Honda dealer today.
Colorado faces a time for choosing, a choice between tired attacks and new ideas. After 15 years in Washington, Mark Udall has nothing new to say.
Let me
think we can play this over, right?
Colorado is asking the same question. Newspapers across Colorado have made their choice, praising Gardner's plans to grow the economy, new ideas, and willingness to compromise. Cory Gardner, for the future. And Spending Inc. is responsible for the content of this advertising.
We're all yeses at Larry H. Miller Toyota of Colorado Springs. From an incredible selection to unbelievable prices, we say yes to everything. Like a brand new Corolla, only $99 a month. $99 a month.
Yes.
Or save with available 0% financing on select models. And of course, we'll say yes to honoring other dealer ads with our price protection program. Now that's satisfaction you can say yes to.
Yes.
Larry H. Miller Toyota of Colorado Springs. Online at toyotaofcoloradosprings.com. Driven by you.
Ride Total Indoor Comfort is offering unprecedented off-season specials. Receive free attic insulation and free duct cleaning with the purchase of our high-efficiency furnace.
As always, it's either 100% right or 100% free. We guarantee it.
Politics and Decision 2014 right now. We've talked a lot about the polls that have many of the candidates neck and neck, from the race for governor to the campaign for U.S. Senate. Some, at some points, have been less than 1 point apart.
But should voters really trust these polls? KRDO News Channel 13's Eric Fink spoke with a longtime expert of Colorado politics to find out.
The latest Quinnipiac poll in the Colorado Senate race shows Cory Gardner leading incumbent Mark Udall by a 7-point spread. But contrast that with the final Denver Post poll before the election, which shows this race is much closer, with Gardner up 2. Which begs the question, how much faith can we put in polling? Colorado College professor Bob Levy has studied election polls for more than half a century.
Polling is a very inexact science. The various polling organizations also poll for different things. Colleges and universities are likely to be more interested in issues and how they're affecting the election. News organizations just want to know the winner.
Levy believes most of the polls in the tightly contested battles for both a critical Senate seat and the governorship are accurate.
If no candidate is more than 4 points ahead of the other, you can assume all the races are draws.
More than 600 people were surveyed in the final Denver Post poll for the governor's race. And notice it shows the race tied at 46. But also notice the plus or 4 point margin of error, which means we just can't assume this race is tied. That margin of error indicates that Governor Hickenlooper could be ahead 50 to 42, or former Congressman Beaupre could be ahead 50 to 42. Most famously in 1948, polls showed a lead near Election Day for Thomas Dewey. But Harry Truman won the presidency. This inexact science was a factor in leading to this inaccurate headline on election night 66 years ago. A big blunder that's now steeped in our history.
Well, pollsters now poll right up until Election Day so they don't make the Truman-Dewey mistake over again.
Lady says don't let the polls influence your vote, and look at the numbers with some caution.
Don't really count on them as to who's going to win on election night. There have been too many times that polls have been completely wrong, totally upset, to place that much confidence in them.
Eric Fink, KRDO, News Channel 13.
Thank you, Eric. And from all of the polling data, Levy expects that Cory Gardner will unseat Mark Udall on Tuesday night.
The political scientist says if Udall were to defy the polls and survive, he would characterize that as a major upset. And the networks of KRDO are your home for Decision 2014. We will have live coverage on television and on KRDO News Radio Tuesday night. Until then, you can find the latest on the candidates and issues on our website at krdo.com.
Well, nearly 70 million Americans feeling a wintry blast tonight.
It came heavy, it came early, and it came to the south. Tennessee saw record snowfall. Other parts of the south got a foot of snow. That's right, a foot of snow. It feels more like mid-January, but it's the beginning of November.
Can we really be surprised by anything at this point?
I don't think, no, we can't be. We can't be happy about it either in some cases.
But for some, the cold snap was a surprise.
So I got a text, and they asked me how much snow was in Saluda, and I said, what? So I opened up the door, and I was totally surprised.
And in Southern California, rain caused heavy mudslides and a lot of problems there. Luckily, we're not seeing anything like that here, Jason. So silver lining, that's our silver lining.
Yeah, you know what the silver lining is for snow, don't you? Take a stab at it.
Yeah, well, it's already
Kills the
silver.
mosquitoes. Kills the mosquitoes. There you go.
Okay.
And spiders and whatnot. I don't know.
I'll take it.
Okay.
I thought of that off the top of my
No, then they
head.
try to come inside to get warm.
Yeah.
Mosquitoes don't, though. They're all done for at
A
least.
for effort.
Yeah, well, I tried. All right, let's take things over to the Skyscan right now and show you what we've got cooking. Notice, area of low pressure clear up in Canada. That's what's pulling this South Pacific moisture up into the region and kicking off some snow into the high country. It doesn't look like it's going to be overly crazy, though, for snowfall over the next few days. We are looking about 1 to 3 into the high terrain. Take you in a little bit tighter right now and show you the HD Doppler radar. Not a lot of activity. The only area we've seen actual registered rainfall is down into the southeastern corner, just south of Springfield, kind of ranging from La Junta to Springfield. That's where we've seen the spotty showers. Mountain terrain, just a few light snow flurries trying to make their way into the area, but those will increase as Monday starts to roll around. Check out those temperatures right now, though. Not bad. Into eastern Colorado, into the mid-50s, 58 into La Junta right now. A few 40s and 50s into the foothills, and 30s and 40s, and a 28-degree mark as we look into Leadville. So cooler air definitely settling into the mountains. As for our snow accumulation, here's how things are going to play out. As soon as that front starts moving through tomorrow, again, this is snow accumulation up through tomorrow. Computer-generated models, they are a lot less, or I should say, showing a lot less accumulation than what we saw earlier today. Throughout the Palmer Divide region, we're going to see a rain mixed with snow. Light slushy conditions for your morning commute are not out of the question, and it's going to kind of linger throughout the day. As we take you into the mountains near Woodland Park and Cripple Creek, right about an inch. Now, likely going to stay under an inch, but an inch is possible out of these storms. Notice that the heaviest snowstorm activity has pretty much stayed really into the high terrain. And as we take you over to Buena Vista, possibly up to 2 to 4, but I wouldn't be surprised if it stays closer to an inch even in this location. Primarily 10,000 feet and above is where we're going to see that snowfall, and down south of the state about 1 to 3 inches there is what we're expecting. So very, very light, just an early spring snowstorm to move through, or I should say fall snowstorm. See, now I'm trying to look on the bright side with seasons too, all right? Looking at the mid-40s for highs tomorrow, into the foothills, 60s into eastern Colorado, but there is hope in sight. My other silver lining, look at that, 60s for the rest of the week once we get rid of that cooler air. Overnight lows a bit chilly, though, into the 30s for your overnight lows. Pueblo looking at 58 degrees once that cold front moves through, and then warming back up to 72 by the end of next week. Plenty of sunshine to go around as well. Bit chilly, though, into Canyon City for your overnight lows, 20s and 30s pretty much all week long, with the mid-60s. And again into Teller County, looking at a rain-snow mix as we move through our Monday, but good news in sight. There's 50s to follow.
We love your optimism.
Yes.
And it's short-lived, so we can survive a day.
Exactly.
We can do it.
Exactly.
All
Just
right.
kind of a test of what's to come. So.
Oh, okay. This is a little last part. All right. Well,
Little
Daredevil
jab.
Nick Walinda just made another record in front of millions of people.
Yeah, take a look at this. He successfully walked on a tightrope, no harness, no nets, between two Chicago skyscrapers with only a river and concrete beneath him in Chicago. Then he walked blindfolded between the two Marina City towers. Walinda has also walked on high wires over the brink of Niagara Falls and across the Little Colorado River Gorge.
That makes me nervous every time I have to see it.
Yeah, it makes you a little queasy.
Yeah.
And finally tonight, we want to leave you with this beautiful shot for capturing Colorado. Joe Randall sent us this one from Garden of the Gods earlier tonight. Just gorgeous.
Yeah, thanks, Joe, for that. We appreciate it. We want to see Colorado through your eyes. Send us your pictures to Capturing Colorado at KRDO.com. You can also post them to our Facebook and Twitter pages. We are KRDO News Channel 13.
So that's the silver lining, pictures like that. We see the clouds coming in for their cold front. So
Yeah, clouds make for better pictures, so.
Yeah, all right.
Colors, at least.
How can you not love it? Well, up next on the Sunday Night Sports Special, Jason Carter has a special about one local football player. It's right after a break. Stay with us.